Today's tech news moves fast, but understanding it shouldn't be hard. That's why Snarful Solutions Group brings you Connecting the Dots, where we break down what's happening in tech and why it matters to you. Now, let's dive in with your hosts.
Welcome to Connecting the Dots. I'm Alex.
And I'm Morgan, and we are broadcasting live to you from the Snarful Solutions Group in beautiful Sacramento, California.
It is a beautiful morning, actually.
It really is.
So just to ground us before we really get going, today is Friday, March 6th, 2026.
Right, making it the end of a very long week.
Seriously. Let's kick things off with a quick look at the weather and the markets so you have the lay of the land for your day.
Sounds good.
Locally, here in Sacramento, we're looking at a gorgeous, sunny day. High of 70 degrees Fahrenheit.
Basically perfect.
Exactly. It's a perfect California morning. But nationally.
Yeah, nationally things are looking significantly more intense today.
For sure. If you are tuning in from the Southern Plains all the way up through the Midwest today, please stay weather aware.
Definitely.
The National Weather Service is tracking severe thunderstorms, and they're expected this afternoon and rolling deep into the night.
We're talking serious hazards here.
Right? Very large hail, severe wind gusts.
Even potential tornadoes.
Yeah, alongside heavy rain that could lead to flash flooding. So be careful out there.
And meanwhile, down in the southern high plains, there are critical fire weather conditions today.
Driven by sustained strong winds and, very low relative humidity.
So definitely a day to keep your emergency alerts toggled on if you're in those regions.
Absolutely. Now, pivoting over to the financial markets, it was a bit of a rocky close yesterday.
It was.
On Thursday, the Dow closed at 47,954.74. That's down about 1.18% for the day.
Ouch.
Yeah. The S&P 500 fared a little better, but it still closed in the red at 6,830.71.
Down exactly 0.30%.
Right. And looking at the crypto side as we open up this Friday morning, Bitcoin opened at roughly 70,878.
And it's currently hovering around 68,899.
Yes, that's a drop of about 2.79%.
We're definitely seeing a bit of downward volatility across the board as we head into the weekend.
Speaking of things you want to keep stable when the markets are volatile, before we jump into the tech wire, I want to quickly mention our sponsor, Strong Coffee.
It is exactly what you need this morning.
It really is. If you're looking for clean, sustained energy to power through a complex workday without the dreaded afternoon jitters, this is exactly what you need. It's a premium instant coffee, but what blew me away is that it genuinely tastes like a fresh traditional brew.
The flavor is incredible.
The real differentiator, though, is the formula. It is packed with 15 grams of protein, MCTs, and adaptogens like ashwagandha. It essentially locks you in for the morning. If you want to upgrade your routine, use the promo code SNARFUL for 20% off your entire purchase at strongcoffeecompany.com.
I can personally vouch for the ashwagandha. It makes a massive difference on mornings where the news cycle is moving at a breakneck pace.
Which is definitely today.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, let's unpack the main event. It's time to open up the Morning Star.
Our internal Snarful Tech article report.
Exactly. We've got 3 massive stories today. And our mission here is to break down not just what happened, but precisely how these shifts are going to rewire your daily workflow.
And your business strategies, honestly.
Right. What's the through line today?
The through line today is control. We are looking at sweeping government actions attempting to shape the AI landscape, a highly publicized clash between the top 2 AI CEOs, and a brand new AI model that fundamentally changes how we interact with our operating systems.
It's huge. So let's jump into our first story, which centers on the Pentagon's new AI blacklist versus Microsoft's concept of model choice.
Yes.
Now, before we get into the details, because this story touches heavily on the current administration and the Department of Defense, we want to make our position entirely clear to you listening.
Very clear.
We are analyzing this strictly through an industry and technological lens. We were simply conveying the information and quotes reported in our sources without endorsing any underlying political viewpoints, policies, or statements.
Right. Our goal is entirely neutral here. We just want to connect the dots on the tech impact.
Exactly. So, setting the table with the facts on the ground. The U.S. Department of War, the Pentagon, has officially labeled the AI startup Anthropic a supply chain risk.
A huge designation.
Massive. Following that designation, President Trump issued an order directing all federal agencies to immediately cease using Anthropic's technology.
Just immediately.
Yeah. And the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, subsequently outlined a 6-month wind-down period for Anthropic services currently integrated at the Pentagon.
The whiplash on this timeline is frankly incredible.
It really is.
I mean, CNBC just confirmed that Anthropic's models were actively used in U.S. airstrikes on Iran in recent days.
Right.
And then suddenly, everything blew up on Friday when talks between the DoD and Anthropic completely collapsed.
Yeah, based on the reports, the non-negotiable sticking points for Anthropic were mass domestic surveillance
Right.
and the deployment of fully autonomous weapons. And Anthropic has already publicly stated they intend to fight this blacklist designation in federal court.
Which is going to be a fascinating legal battle regarding vendor lock-in and defense contracting.
Oh, definitely.
But the immediate industry fallout was basically a vacuum that got filled instantly.
Within hours.
Literally hours. Anthropic's talks fell apart, and their biggest rival, OpenAI, stepped right in.
Just swooped in.
Yeah, and they agreed to run their models for classified Pentagon workloads.
But, if we pull back from the defense sector for a second, the really fascinating angle here is how Microsoft is navigating this.
They are completely bucking the trend.
That is exactly where my head was spinning. You have all these defense tech subcontractors frantically telling their developers to rip Anthropic's Claude models out of their tech stacks.
To comply with the federal order.
Right. But Microsoft, they had their legal team scrutinize the mandate, and they concluded that the DoD ban only applies to defense and federal projects.
Period.
Yeah. So Microsoft made a highly publicized statement that they will keep Anthropic's technology deeply embedded in their commercial client products.
It is a brilliant, albeit high-wire, corporate maneuver.
Very high wire.
Microsoft is essentially stepping in to serve as a firewall for the corporate world. If you are an enterprise client utilizing Microsoft 365, GitHub Copilot, or Microsoft's AI Foundry,
which so many people are.
Exactly. Claude is staying exactly where it is for your non-defense related projects.
Right.
This is rooted in a philosophy that Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella has been championing for a while now, which he calls model choice.
Yeah, he's been very vocal about giving developers the ability to dynamically toggle between Anthropic and OpenAI models depending on the specific task.
But let's follow the money here, because Microsoft is playing both sides of the chessboard on a scale that is hard to fathom.
Let's hear it.
Microsoft holds a $135 billion stake in OpenAI's public benefit corporation.
$135 billion.
They are the primary engine behind OpenAI, but simultaneously, Anthropic has committed to spending $30 billion on Microsoft Azure cloud services.
Wow.
And Microsoft agreed to invest up to $5 billion into Anthropic. They are financially anchored to both of these fiercely competing AI giants.
So they cannot afford to let a federal defense mandate crater their commercial cloud revenue.
Exactly. And what this ultimately means for your daily operations is enterprise stability.
Right. If you are a software engineer relying on Claude to debug your code in GitHub,
or a project manager using it to synthesize meeting notes in Word,
Microsoft is ensuring your workflow doesn't get abruptly broken by geopolitical clashes. They are signaling to the enterprise market that their commercial tools are insulated.
Yeah.
Now, that geopolitical firewall Microsoft is building makes perfect sense financially, but this government ban certainly didn't happen in a vacuum.
It definitely did not.
It actually sparked a highly personal public war of words between the leadership of these companies, which brings us to our second story.
The AI CEO feud and Claude's office invasion.
Right. And again, just a quick reminder to you listening, we are reporting these quotes objectively to highlight the industry tension. We aren't taking sides.
The friction here is unusually public for tech leaders at this tier.
Very out in the open.
OpenAI CEO Sam Altman was speaking at a Morgan Stanley conference on Thursday, which is notable because he's speaking directly to Wall Street. And he took some very pointed swipes at Anthropic. He stated that it is, quote, bad for society when companies abandon their commitment to the democratic process just because some people don't like the person or people currently in charge.
Wow.
Yeah, he doubled down by adding that the government is inherently supposed to be more powerful than private companies.
And Dario Amodei, the CEO of Anthropic, did not let that slide.
Yeah, he did not.
He utilized an internal memo to his employees to fire back, heavily criticizing Altman for giving what he termed dictator-style praise to Trump.
Strong words.
Very. And it's worth noting that Altman, during his conference appearance, did actually concede that OpenAI's incredibly swift deal with the DoD, right on the heels of Anthropic being blacklisted, looked opportunistic and sloppy, in his own words.
It is a fascinating study in corporate posturing. Altman is projecting alignment with federal power to Wall Street, while Amodei is projecting principled defiance to his internal engineering talent.
Right.
But if we pivot from the drama to the actual technology, Anthropic just executed a massive business maneuver that directly challenges OpenAI's enterprise dominance.
What's the play?
They unveiled a new suite called Cowork and Plugins for the Enterprise. They are bypassing the browser entirely and pushing Claude directly into Microsoft Excel, PowerPoint, and Slack.
Man, this feels like a massive paradigm shift.
It really is.
Up until now, AI has largely been a destination. You know, you open a separate browser tab, you prompt the chatbot, you copy the output, you toggle back to your spreadsheet, you paste it in.
And then you spend 10 minutes fixing the fact that the AI completely nuked your pivot table formatting.
Exactly. Anthropic is essentially saying that era friction is over. Claude is transitioning into an operational layer, living inside your existing apps.
That is the perfect way to frame it. It is about persistent context. Because the system carries context between those programs, you aren't just pasting raw text. The AI understands the underlying data structures in your Excel file and how they map to the narrative in the PowerPoint deck you are actively building.
That's incredible.
Furthermore, they are launching open source plugins, which act as specialized AI agents configured for specific corporate verticals.
And they aren't trying to build these verticals from scratch, right?
No, they co-develop these plugins with massive industry partners. We are talking FactSet and S&P for financial modeling, L'Oreal for brand and design assets, and Deloitte for consulting and compliance workflows.
Plus, they are rolling out native connectors to Google Drive, Gmail, and DocuSign.
Anthropic's strategy is clearly to become the default invisible operating layer for enterprise workflows.
Yeah, they noted in their launch announcement that while 2025 was the year Claude transformed how software gets built by engineers, 2026 is about bringing that exact same transformation to all knowledge workers.
The battle for the digital workplace is reaching a boiling point. You have Microsoft Copilot deeply embedded in the Windows OS, Google Gemini infused into Workspace, OpenAI launching their frontier platform.
And now Anthropic infiltrating Excel and Slack.
Exactly.
So if you are listening to this and managing a team, the takeaway is that the friction of bouncing between disparate AI tools is vanishing. Your everyday spreadsheets and slide decks are about to become inherently context-aware.
Which perfectly sets the stage for our third story, because while Anthropic is trying to embed itself neatly into your spreadsheets, OpenAI is taking a completely different and frankly wilder approach.
Oh, yeah.
They just unleashed GPT-5.4, and the AI is literally taking control of the mouse.
This is a staggering product launch. OpenAI dropped GPT-5.4 on Thursday, positioning it as their absolute most capable and efficient frontier model for complex professional workflows.
Yep.
They're rolling it out in a standard version, but also a thinking version designed for deep reasoning, and a pro version optimized for high-performance enterprise tasks.
Let's look at the raw specs first, because they represent a massive leap.
Go for it.
For developers utilizing the API, they are now offering a context window of 1 million tokens. Yeah. They also reported an 18% reduction in factual errors compared to the previous GPT-5.2 model, and the model scored an 83% on OpenAI's internal GDP-Val test.
Which is a rigorous benchmark specifically designed to measure advanced knowledge work tasks.
Right.
And just looking at that 1 million token context window from a practical standpoint, you are no longer meticulously chunking your code base to fit it into a prompt.
No.
You can essentially dump your entire repository, along with all the supporting documentation, into the model at once.
Right.
And it has the capacity to retain all of that logic simultaneously.
Exactly. But the upgrades aren't just about raw token capacity. They have completely reworked the architecture for how the API handles external tools with a new system called Tool Search.
How does that work?
Previously, if you wanted an AI agent to utilize external tools, you had to load all the definitions for every single tool into the system prompt up front.
Which eats up a lot of space.
It bloated the context window, increased latency, and wasted tokens, which directly translated to wasting API budget.
Right.
Now, the AI dynamically looks up tool definitions in real time, only as it needs them. It is significantly faster and dramatically more cost-effective.
They also implemented a fascinating new safety protocol. AI safety researchers have been raising red flags for a while about advanced reasoning models potentially hiding their true intentions.
Or engaging in deceptive behavior to achieve a goal.
Right. To counter this, OpenAI built a new safety evaluation directly into the model's chain of thought. They found that deception is much less likely to occur in the thinking version of GPT 5.4 because they can now effectively monitor and course-correct its internal logic before it executes an action.
And that safety check is absolutely critical because of the marquee feature of this release.
This is the crazy part.
GPT-5.4 is OpenAI's very first general-purpose system with native computer use capabilities.
We're moving entirely beyond text and code generation.
Yes. This AI agent can literally move a mouse cursor across your desktop, type on your keyboard, take continuous screenshots to understand its environment, and autonomously navigate complex websites to complete multi-step workflows.
Okay, I have to play devil's advocate here, because the idea of an AI autonomously driving my operating system is equal parts amazing and terrifying.
Completely understandable.
In their internal tests, which simulated the daily workload of a junior investment banking analyst, GPT 5.4 scored an 87.3% on complex spreadsheet modeling tasks.
That is incredibly impressive.
It is. But if the model hallucinates while it is actively controlling my mouse, and it clicks send on a client email with a flawed financial model attached, isn't that a massive, uninsurable liability for a firm?
That is the exact tension the industry is grappling with right now. It's a fundamental difference between giving an AI a prompt versus giving an AI a delegation.
Right.
When it is just a chatbot, a human is the final arbiter before the work is utilized. With native computer use, the AI is executing the actions. OpenAI is betting that the combination of the new chain of thought safety checks and the 18% drop in factual errors will make it reliable enough for enterprise deployment. But the transition from assistant to autonomous agent is going to require entirely new frameworks for corporate oversight.
And as a quick bonus update for those of you who just use ChatGPT for everyday tasks, OpenAI also rolled out an update called GPT 5.3 Instant for the default consumer model.
Oh, yeah.
They have tuned it to be much more fluid and significantly less defensive. If you have ever been frustrated by an AI giving you a massive, overly cautious legal disclaimer before answering a relatively simple query,
Which is so annoying.
so annoying.
Yeah.
This update directly addresses that friction. Plus, it brings a 26.8% drop in hallucinations when the model searches the live web.
Ultimately, the barrier to completing complex digital tasks is dropping at an unprecedented rate. The AI isn't just generating a step-by-step guide on how to build a financial model or design a graphic. It is taking the mouse and executing the software commands for you.
It is a profound shift in human-computer interaction.
It really is.
Now, before we wrap up today's coverage, I want to make sure we mention our final sponsor, Old Glory.
Yes.
If you have a techie friend or a colleague who is notoriously impossible to shop for, this is your solution. Old Glory is an iconic music and sports fan merch store with a truly unbelievable selection of apparel and accessories. Whether your friend is a diehard fan of classic rock, fiercely loyal to modern sports teams, or into really cool niche apparel brands like Pins and Eases and Scorny, they have got something unique that doesn't just feel like a generic gift card.
It is genuinely a fantastic spot to find a gift that feels highly personal and actually cool to wear out.
Definitely. And we have a great deal for you to take advantage of. Just use the promo code SNARFL at checkout and you will get 15% off your entire purchase. That is promo code SNARFL at oldglory.com.
So to quickly recap the dots we've connected across the tech landscape today,
Let's hear it.
we are watching the U.S. government actively attempt to shape the AI vendor ecosystem through defense contracts and federal blacklists. We are seeing an intensely personal rivalry between the leadership of OpenAI and Anthropic, which is directly accelerating the race to integrate context-aware AI into the enterprise apps we rely on.
Yep.
And finally, we are witnessing the deployment of AI models that can natively take over your mouse and keyboard to execute multi-step workflows across your operating system.
It is a massive amount of systemic change to process, but it all points to a fundamentally re-architected digital workplace by the end of this year. Which leaves us with a final provocative thought for you to mull over this weekend.
Right. If AI is now fully capable of utilizing our computers exactly like we do navigating interfaces, moving the mouse, typing on the keyboard, and carrying complex context across all our applications without us ever needing to open a separate chatbot window, at what point does the AI stop being our assistant and start becoming the primary user of the computer?
Wow.
Are we rapidly approaching a threshold where we are the ones assisting the AI?
That is a fascinating and mildly unnerving question to leave things on. We're here to help at Snarful, so reach out on our website if you have any more questions.
That's a wrap on today's top stories. Remember, tech doesn't have to be complicated, and we're here to help connect the dots. If you've got questions or want to learn more, visit us at snarful.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.